Yeah, I had sleep paralysis for the first time 3 weeks ago. Scariest thing.
Oh, that was your first experience 3 weeks ago. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can empathize and sympathize. It's horrible. Yeah, I went through that for most of my 20s and most of my 30s and a little bit into my 40s.
Whoa.
I like every week. Yeah,
Oh my
it was
God.
the most horrible thing. Yeah, it was yeah, unexplainable. Like, I used to go to bed just fearing for my life.
Far
Yeah.
out.
Really, I don't quite know why it happened to me, but I just feel like I was just working through some deep stuff.
Well,
And
yeah.
now I don't get it at all. So I don't know. I do hope that it stops for you, sweetie. I reckon it do. It's
Well,
not
it only
nice.
happened once so far,
Mm,
like
yeah.
knock on wood. And I remember being woken up by it as it went into my body. And then I was like, and I couldn't move. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
And then
It's horrible.
I couldn't see it, but I could feel it in and on me sort of thing. And then I
Mm.
just said, get the fuck off me. I just like,
Yep.
and then eventually I got out of it, got it off me. And
Yeah. Well done.
but it was literally just as I was coming out, like last year was absolutely, that's probably one of the most challenging years of my life last year in regards to shadow work or whatever you want to call it. Um,
Yep.
another, there's been a few moments in my life like that, but last year was tough. And as I was just coming out of it, it kind of felt like either something didn't want me to feel good
Mm.
or or I was being shown and just to experience what that felt like. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it could have been both of those things too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you'll work through it. From what I've heard, and you are a very smart young woman.
Oh,
I listened to your podcast today, Dale and Madeline,
yeah,
that
yeah.
one, AA, of the cult of AA. I've got all my paraphernalia ready. I put, I've, oh, um,
That is so
I am
funny.
I've done some notes on my phone because I'm in this state of I'm in this state. I don't even know how I'm feeling. I'm on the verge of tears. I'm
Yeah,
angry, I'm sad, and I'm also grateful for the experience all at the same
I
time.
know.
It's a weird feeling. And how this all came to be, like I might,
Just go for it. Yeah.
lead lead the. Oh, you want me to just
Yeah,
go
yeah,
into
let's do
it?
it.
I don't. Okay. Well, okay. So always it was a major part. I feel like I'm about to take a stand at AA and do a share. That's what it's like, isn't it? Is that
So
beer
fun.
you're drinking? Oh my
No.
God.
It better not be.
Well, I'm having a cup of
Yeah,
tea with
yeah.
vodka and no, just joking.
Yeah.
Um,
We're gonna have a great
uh,
chat. This is gonna be good.
oh
All
yeah,
right. Yeah.
let's gotta have a laugh. All
Yeah.
right. So just come out of a period of 4.5 years of complete sobriety.
Mhm.
Uh, 3 years prior to that, I was trying very much to stop drinking alcohol, and I certainly needed to. Certainly
Mm.
needed to. I had a problem, and I was very unwell, physically, mentally, and emotionally from it. Um, there was reasons for that now that I look back and understand completely now why, because I have been working in the field of uh, metaphysics and healing, and I'm a professional psychic now. I'm a channel and a medium, and never ever thought I'd be doing this kind of work and helping people solve their problems and with self-love, and that all disease is, you can heal yourself from anything. The body is a
Mm.
miraculous machine that is capable of curing itself from
That's right.
anything.
Yeah.
So I learned that from Dolores Cannon and the past life regression. I'm a hypnotist, trained past life hypnotist. We're working with the subconscious. Anyway, to digress a bit, uh, I became very, I don't even want to use that word addicted now, but let's say reliant maybe, or habitually using alcohol because I was a single mum. And from the birth of my child, pretty much, and she's 14 now. So it's been quite a challenging and bumpy ride. Some periods of social isolation within that time, like lengthy periods where I was extremely lonely. And it was, almost impossible to go out and meet people or do things during the week, especially, and even on weekends if I couldn't rely on the father to look after her, which I really, really couldn't at that stage for a very long time. And, one glass became, two, and then over the years it just sort of increased. And I was not doing really any work on myself at all. I didn't know how. I didn't really until things started getting to the point where I was getting, waking up with the shakes, and I'd have a mental breakdown, and I'd end up going. I had to get go to the doctor, and end up going to a psychiatrist, get into rehab. But I had to go just to hospital under having anxiety, which I did, and basically just get sober in a week, because that's all the time I could get my daughter looked after. So I had to really do that. But that happened maybe 5 times. Well, that's 10. Five hospital admissions over maybe a 3-year period where I was just having breakdown after breakdown, really. I just couldn't cope. Because I was isolated from my I didn't have a group until Alcoholics Anonymous was introduced to me, and that was introduced quite early, but I didn't want to admit that I was an alcoholic. Funny that I wasn't. I just had unhealed trauma, a lot of it, a shit ton of it. So I ended up doing what the psychiatrist told me to do, or suggested. She didn't tell me. And I went to my first group of AA, and I was welcomed as the newcomer. They're the most important people in the room, by the way. And you are they come to you like
a magnet.
Yeah, like, oh, we can help. We're so glad you're here. And they mean it. They do. They are actually very well-meaning, don't you reckon, Julia?
Oh yeah, it's like you're the center of attention.
The center of attention, and I'm not exactly sure to this day why the newcomer is the most important person in the room, but
it's the 12th step. It's the recruitment.
Oh, that's right.
It's, if you think about it, like if you flip it, it's like for them, it's or for people in the rooms, for them to stay sober, they have to do service.
That's right. In order to keep it, you've got to give it away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll stay and remain sick. And this is just what they tell you in the big. This is an Alcoholics Anonymous book. This is part of the literature. There's many books you can get. One of them is called the Big Book, but this is one. Remembering that alcoholism is an incurable, progressive, and fatal disease. You would have heard Julia speak about that. So that's drummed into you from the minute you get in there. And I was like, I don't know about that. But they say things, there's many catchphrases that are repeatedly said in these meetings. And the one of them was just go and see if you identify with just one thing that one person says. And if you can identify with that and see something within yourself that you can identify, you more than likely will come to the conclusion that you are an alcoholic, and you are not in this room by chance, dear.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember that one?
Yeah,
you didn't get here by mistake.
Your best thinking got you here.
Yeah, you're stinking thinking. You're a stinking thinker. All these terrible things. And now that I've, you've thankfully, and thank you, I want to thank you, Julia, because I came to my own conclusion at probably halfway through last year. I started in my 4th year of sobriety. And mind you, a lot of that, I reckon 50-50 of that was a sad time for me, a very lonely time. I was afraid to go out. It's making me emotional. I was afraid to go out. I was afraid to go near a bar. I was afraid to socialize with other drinkers. So I didn't go out. I stayed home, and I missed out on a lot. And on approach to my 50th birthday, which was last June, I thought to myself, fuck this, I'm going to go out. I'm going out and I'm going to dance and I'm going to have a great time. And I didn't drink, but I stayed up really late and I danced and I had the most amazing time. And I have continued to do that throughout this whole year. And last year, and I'm still having fun. But this Christmas, my major trauma in my life has been in relationships with family, like most of us.
Yep.
Really, really intense shit. It was not easy, not easy. And I'm not saying anyone else's life is my life is, harder than yours. It just was my experience, right?
Well, it's relative to you. Yeah.
It relative to me, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the Christmas table and looking at the family members that I had major trauma issues with throughout my whole life, and looked at the whole picture, and I went, my God, I'm healed from this. This is the most amazing situation. We're all together. We're all smiling. Everyone, we know, we really feel this love. I've done the work, and it wasn't a case of, it was me having gone within myself and worked on my loving me that brought it all together. I didn't finally forgive them, or it wasn't like that, And I thought, and I saw my brother drinking a beer, who he normally never drinks, and we got talking about the subject of alcoholism, and I said, oh, but grandma, my grandma was a drinker, daily drinker, and she caused a lot of pain to family members. And I just thought that I had this disease. I thought I was sick for the rest of my life. And what a mind control lie that is. And for all of you out there who have been told this, I'm sure Julia can tell you there are different ways to approach recovery, because I'm not quite sure yet what that is, because I need deprogramming too. I am very, very new into this. Yeah.
Right. Some of what you talked about with the, like you thought that you had the disease, right? Because you were aware of your grandmother's drinking, is the very issue with how cults work. I'm going to read this definition out. What is a cult? It's a system of religious worship that adopts and propagates beliefs that are dangerous, especially to the lives, rights, and freedoms of those who are not its members. So the masses, on a global scale, I would even say, because AA is 75 countries, right? Majority of people think that someone that drinks too much is an alcoholic, that they're sick. That saying, everyone knows about the saying, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic.
Yep.
It's a common knowledge, but this common knowledge is actually based in misinformation, because actually, I'll put you onto this book. This is how I deprogrammed, and it's based in science and data and actual up-to-date information that taught me and made me really learn the fact that, because of the numbers and the data and the statistics and all the research that these guys have done, that alcoholism isn't a disease, it's a behavior, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And any behavior and any choice can be changed and unlearned, and your brain heals it. Like, you can heal yourself.
And yes, absolutely.
And these meetings, like, the one thing that you have to do for the rest of your life is, firstly, you have to go to meetings for the rest of your life and constantly label yourself as an alcoholic for something that you did in the past. That's a trap. That's a trap.
It's abhorrent, and it's keeping people in this cycle of victimhood. And I was told things like, just like a person who's lost a kidney and needs their dialysis, well, you need your medicine, Claire. You need your medicine, and if you don't come, this is how they speak to you. But they do it with love in their hearts because they're so brainwashed too, and
Yeah.
you can feel their loving intention.
Mm.
So it's so wicked. At its core,
Kind of like,
if you take your medicine, you're going to get sicker and sicker. And if you go back to the drink, go to the bar, your disease would have progressed in this time if you haven't been getting your medicine, which is regular AA meeting, not just one a week. So I couldn't get to a meetings because I was a single mum. I was stuck at home. I couldn't take my baby out,
yeah.
my little one. So I had the guilt running through me like I was getting more and more sick
Yeah.
that it was, yeah,
I
sorry,
had
I'm
the
cutting you
same
off.
thing. No, 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 you're right. This is like we're just having a conversation, so it's like go ahead, jump ahead anytime. Like I had the same thing the last couple years, maybe 2, 3 years. I really dropped off meetings because I just wasn't feeling it. I was like, "What's wrong with me? I'm
Mm.
supposed to be so, you know, I don't know, Miss AA person by now, having done all these things and sponsored all
Ah,
these women, and I just wasn't. And
the
obviously
sponsorship.
yeah, and anyway, so and the guilt, I had that guilt. I was like carrying this guilt. I was like, I'm not doing the work. I mean, that means I'm getting sick, and I was making myself sick with the thinking that you're taught. Really
Yes.
dangerous, really
Mm.
bad. It's just, and so many. I have had so many people contact me after these videos that I've made. Just
Hopefully
like,
more and more will.
well, hopefully, but it's look, everyone's got their choice at the end of the day. If you want to go to AA
Sure.
meetings, then by all means go to AA meetings. Like if it makes you happy, I don't have a single problem with that. I just have a problem with the misinformation that is being propagated by this literature that is so old.
Oh, it's so
So
old and it's so like I am like reading it back today and my mouth is like, oh
yeah.
my God. Like, and just one other thing you just to mention on the sponsorship thing, like I've been a nurse prior to what I do now for 30 years or so, and in the psychiatric nursing field. And so I would look at, I never became a sponsor because I just kind of, well, I did know that um from my experience too of having a sponsor, she refused to do the step 5 thing where I
Right.
admitted my sins,
Mhm.
all written down, all the fucked things I've done to people over the time. Excuse my French.
That's all right.
You can bleep that out
No,
if you want.
I swear all the time. It just comes out sometimes when I get really passionate. So go for it.
Um, so my sponsor was actually a very beautiful, kind, loving woman, but very indoctrinated now I see into this cult. So I then got like a step-in sponsor for just this step, who was another lovely woman doing the best of her ability to help me. And I thought, what a gorgeous act of kindness she's doing for me. And I went to her house over coffee and a few bickies and probably a few ciggies back then too, and got right into them, and telling her all of my trauma. And some of the things that she said back to me just made it even worse.
Mm.
I was like totally mind flipped by some of the comments that she inadvertently made to me about some of the things I'd done in my life to certain people. And, I can look back now and think, gee, a trained psychologist or a counselor or any kind of professional person of their field would never say those things. So it
Can we
actually
talk
put
about that?
that
Actually, yeah, because
on.
um one of the key things in the step 5 is when you sort of unload your sins and you share them with your sponsor, is that everything that has occurred through the columns as you've written them down, it's all
Yeah.
about seeing your part in it, how it was your fault.
Oh, that's
In it,
right.
that's
Yes, that's right.
the thing, and you're like, oh my God, everything was my fault.
Yeah.
Because I
What is your part in it? Well,
like that chick, or
sometimes,
let's say someone raped someone and you're a
mm,
victim of something, then I'm sorry, that's not your fault.
no, no.
That's
I think that for in some sponsorship, partnerships. I think those things, could be looked at a bit more, in a more balanced way.
Depends
But
who your sponsor is.
depends who your sponsor is,
Mm.
yeah. So, I chose to go to a woman who had many, many years sobriety because that was recommended to me, and I kind of went with that. But, there's no way I'm, you know,
My
it
sponsor
was,
was
it,
really lovely as well. My third
yeah,
sponsor, she was she is a beautiful woman, but just
yeah,
indoctrinated,
yeah. I don't
unfortunately.
want to like, put
Yeah,
rubbish to people or
yeah,
one, because most, if not all, are there for, I guess, the right reasons to get well.
exactly. That's
They
why
want to
people
get
go.
well.
That's
Yeah.
why,
And
like,
yeah,
speaking out against AA, I haven't had I've had a few comments like saying, but AA is a good, it's where
yeah,
vulnerable people go to get help, and that is exactly what happens
yes.
there.
Yeah.
But it is a trap because again, going back to the point, the foundation of Alcoholics Anonymous, even the word alcoholic comes from the essence that it's a disease,
Yeah.
and it's not.
Yeah.
So,
No.
like, you've got a whole society, global society, that's operating on misinformation. So, yes, it's a
Mm.
good place for people to go to get well, stop drinking, but they're being told that they're powerless. And,
Powerless over alcohol.
and people and places and things and everything. Better just like sit back and let God do all the work. Hand it over. Let God, what's the saying?
Let go
Let
and
go
let
and let
God.
God. And in a
Yeah.
way,
Kingdom,
like,
your
yeah.
response. Well, there was some that there's like it's a muddy water.
Mm,
Sort of has all this good stuff in it too, but I wouldn't mind for people like just reading a little bit
yep.
from the big book,
Do it. Let's
right?
do it.
This is what they call the big book, and this is the AA Bible
Mhm.
written by Bill and Bob,
Yeah.
the doctors. Is that right? Bill was the doctor, wasn't he?
No,
He
Bob
was
was the
the
doctor,
Bob was the doctor.
and Bill was the guy that came from the Oxford group, was
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
extreme
right.
religious group. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. So this is chapter 3. I just want you to start listening to the subliminal programming within the literature. And I'll just go from this part here. I'll just read a couple of
Go
paragraphs.
for it.
So, most of us have been unwilling to admit that we were real alcoholics. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove that we could drink like other people. The idea that somehow somebody the idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. Okay, so that's just the first paragraph. Can you
Mhm.
see people how indoctrinating that crap is? And then we go to another one which I picked up on here. We do not like to pronounce any individual as alcoholic, but you can quickly diagnose yourself. Step over to the nearest bar room and try some controlled drinking. Try to stop it abruptly. Try it. And I just put under here in brackets, I did, and it's all good. I
It's so
had to write
manipulative.
art on it. It's so manipulative.
It's so manipulative. Like, I made a video about, people
Disgusting.
um diagnosing themselves and others,
Yes.
and they don't have a medical license to do that, right? But
Yeah.
they don't necessarily, some sponsors will tell you straight to your face, sorry, you've got a disease. That's what's wrong with you. And it's
Yeah.
incurable. And then other people would say, um, I'll show you my story. And if you relate to it, then it's up to you to diagnose yourself. So there are different
Yes.
ways, but really
That's
there
right.
are no psychologists in these meetings. There are no therapists, no doctors running these meetings. It's just alcoholics. And what you read out is complete manipulation and fear
Oh,
tactics.
fear tactics, and the last sentence is another subliminal. Blah, blah. It will not take long for you to decide if you are honest with yourself about it. It may be worth a bad case of jitters if you get a full knowledge of your condition. So then again, that demoralizing, way of speaking and talk, saying, well, just go out and give it a go, but you'll never ever be well. So
Well,
don't
they've
even bother.
contradicted themselves in that, which paragraphs you read, because it says we can't diagnose you, yet your condition at the end is pointing to the fact that you've got a condition, which is all pointed to the whole disease element.
All picked up.
So it's
Well picked up,
it
Julia.
says, look, oh, we're not going to say anything. You got to decide for yourself. But actually, this is what it really is, and that's the whole book is like that. Even through the research that I learned through the Freedom Model guys, because they're all XAA members too.
Oh, they are? Great.
They were indoctrinated from their parents. They were all in AA, and his research pointed to the 100 members that first got sober, they were all made up by Bill. Really? Yeah.
Oh, nothing surprising me. This is just
I haven't checked that evidence out for myself, but there's a bit in the online model if you do pay the fee, because they do charge, because that's their life work is there's a currency for it, which I totally understand. He actually breaks down a lot of the history of AA, Bill Wilson, and the business model that he designed, which how AA operates now through the rehabs and the revolving door policy. So it's a trap because you go into AA or rehab first, whichever, right? Let's say you go to rehab first. In rehab, you'll have your big book there waiting for you.
Yep.
You'll get sober, start the 12 steps.
Table.
That's right. And then you get told to go to 12-step meetings after you leave. You go to 12-step meetings. Meanwhile, the success rate's only 5% on average. So 95% people relapse from this because they're told they're sick. So you leave AA because you've drunk again or you've drugged. Then you go back to rehab. And meanwhile, even though AA says there are no dues or fees, you're still putting something in the basket, but you're also paying for the rehab, which is a 12-step. It's all part of the same big thing.
Big nest egg.
AA is like, there's about, last time I checked, you can go through their records, about 14 million in the prudent reserve on average, give or take. Don't quote me on that. Plus all the money that make from rehabs. And Bill Wilson died a multi-millionaire back then. So to say that this society doesn't make any money and it's no dues or fees, it's bullshit. And you also pay with your life.
That whole thing of, yes, you do, or you can. I did see people die in AA, and the this notion that it is free, and it seems to be like a donation. You can put your 20 cents or your 50 cents in there. Is such a clever way of making you feel safe, because they're not making any money out of it. Therefore, it must be, benevolent and good, and for the good of all. And you just walk in there and you get your lollies and your biggies, and mainly it's another thing I found too, and that wonderful documentary, The 13th Step, I watched last night. That's just blew my mind. Like, I didn't realize how sex offenders and the court system was sending people into these meetings, and probably sat next to many. But it is a massive, that men will, although it was discouraged in my AA groups that I attended, they want your number. It's a massive pickup joint.
Oh yeah, easily. If you're a vulnerable person that doesn't gauge a predator very well, it's you attract each other like anything, And there are meetings that say, people that say, women with women, men with men,
Yeah.
So, and I actually did check the AA website in Australia. There is a policy that they have for sexual harassment and a reporting system, which I didn't know, which is really good. In America, I don't think they have that. I'm not, from what I heard from Monica when I spoke to her, but doesn't mean it doesn't happen here, because predators are smart. They're not gonna, and remember as well, they've got that whole anonymity thing that you can't name anyone. What you
Yeah.
see here, what's the saying? What you see here, what you
Stays
hear
here.
here
Here,
stays
here.
here. Here.
Here,
That's,
here.
and everyone says
Yeah.
it as like a thing at the end. It's like, fuck, now I can't report that person. And it's like,
Yeah.
yes, we have a policy, but you also can't report anyone. So it's, again, it's like that double-ended sword. It's like we're saying all
Mm.
the things that are supposed to be said, yet our actions are, you know, doing something else. So it's
Yeah,
very,
indeed. I was the reason I'm looking down sometimes is because I wrote a few notes because I've been really, really
yeah.
digesting a lot of things from your um interview today, and I just wrote down so much stuff. But what about the way that they say that we're not normal if you're an alcoholic, like that they
Oh,
call
like,
them the normies out
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and they make you feel almost as though you're special because you found your tribe. We're all the same. We're all very, very selfish people at our core.
And
That's why we're all
sick, selfish and sick.
sick and
Mm,
extremely sensitive. That's why we drink. That's why
yeah.
we drink. We're extremely sensitive, sick people with a disease. More than likely, you had a grandparent or a mother or father, or it does skip generations. So don't think that it doesn't. All this stuff, and I was totally hooked in, and it's interesting too because my mum, when I told her that I was an alcoholic, she said, "Really? Do you think? Why do you think that?" She goes, "Oh, you've been drinking, a lot, and I know you've been in hospital, and you probably should stop drinking because you've been drinking a lot." But she always told me the mantra that I had growing up was, "Be powerful, not pitiful, Claire."
Mm,
And that was ingrained into me from a young woman, and I think that's what sort of well, I've always been, searching for justice in many different avenues, whether it's in my workplace or with animal rights or, and then the mandates came in and I needed to say stuff about that and get Dad's song out there and the words anyway. And then the mandates came in for AA, and I couldn't go
yeah.
anymore. I thought, well,
Same.
they do not wish to engage in any controversy. That's in the 12th
Bullshit.
section. That's when I
Yeah.
stopped going because I just wasn't allowed back in. I thought, oh, these people are just. This is, that's another what was another red flag. However, I was still,
Mm,
felt like I was still very sick and not getting well. I
mm.
was just, yeah.
Either
So,
way, like when you messaged me yesterday, it got me thinking to the first time I saw you, and then like later that evening I opened up my phone and the video popped up on my newsfeed of you singing. And I was like, oh,
oh,
I was in that crowd and I was looking at you. I was like, you're so cool.
well, I tell
You know?
you, I
And
nearly didn't get up there, but anyway.
well, you did, and you sang beautifully. And I have up so much respect for you for calling out, the issue around SRA. Like
Oh, thanks.
I was like, that's the real strength in you. What came out on that stage, I was like, yeah, and it's like when we can harness that on a daily basis if we want to. It's just like
Yeah.
knowing how to do it. It's like we have all these moments in life where I remember I used to get up on stage. I used to have the biggest stage fright, like you wouldn't believe, and I'd freeze every
Oh,
time I had
yeah.
to go to play a solo. I had some tricky odd time signature groups to play, like on stage, like, especially when I was learning, I'd freeze because that self confidence, that judgment of myself, and
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned to harness I just practiced. I
Yeah.
practiced at getting better at being me in front of people on stage. And now it's just like I can get on stage and I just play. Like that
God, so cool.
anxiety,
What a good story.
but
It's so
like we
that
can,
even a little bit of adrenaline's good, sort of kind of
yeah.
gets it. It's quite exhilarating, but yeah, it's can be a tough thing to work through. So good on you. It
But
reminds
like,
me of that awesome, awesome
now you go.
comment that Dale Holmes said once. I think it's one of the best lines he's ever said in any of his videos, and this one wasn't one of the more pre-planned ones is when he was being chased across some part of Australia by these awful police, and he said what can they fucking do to me anyway? I'm infinite, they can't fucking hurt me. Oh, I love you, Dad. That was
Yeah.
probably one of the best lines I've heard of any of your videos, and that's we are there's not fear is an illusion where they cannot hurt us in any way. No one can. And yeah, it's this cult of AA is causing people to live in a state of fear, and it's not good. And I really hope that people can support your work, Julia,
And
and
you
just
too.
get out there. If I can do any more to help you, please
I
let me
think we've
know.
only really just scratched the top of the iceberg, to be honest. Like you're gonna, as you go through whatever you do, because you said you need to deprogram more and stuff. It's just more's
Ooh,
gonna come up, more's gonna come. Like I remember I'm not like when I say ahead of you or anything. I'm just like, I only just remember feeling the same thing, like excited, sad, that grief, but at the
yes.
same time, freedom. I'm like, oh my God, it's like I can think for myself. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I
And
just,
it's like,
it's like I've been
oh,
in some kind of, I like in one of those movies you see on Netflix. It's like, oh my God, I have been in a cult.
yeah.
I've been in a cult. I'm one of those people.
When I
Oh my
realized,
God.
when
Did
I
you know?
realized I was in my car and I just started laughing. I was
Well,
like,
I'm
no
laughing
fucking
now.
way. But like, mate, going back to the point that we all have our unique essence, right? And it's about
Yeah.
remembering who we are, harnessing that essence when um yeah, and when we are in that power, in our power, God, like we can do what anything that and we can do anything. And one of the ways as well, like we spoke a little bit on Messenger about mind control. And
Yes.
and as I've been learning about all the elements and how mind control is um imposed on us, whether
Mm.
that's through, government institutions, the schooling system, um, everything, like you'll get a lot of people in that left brain imbalance or the right brain imbalance. But the
Mm.
point is that they don't care which way you are imbalanced.
No.
The main thing is that you have an imbalance, because that's when they can control you, because your brain isn't working as there's no higher order thinking going on,
Oh, I
right?
totally know what you're talking about. Yeah, having the right brain not functioning as much as the left, and what we are coming into now in this beautiful great awakening is the balancing of the right and left side, the hemispheres of our brain, and
Yeah.
that's what they do. Yeah, I'm totally on board with all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
It's
been in
just
my masculine for way too long. Oh,
but
I have.
that's why the solution to slavery starts within ourselves, because we have to
Yes.
experience what it feels to be free from all the programming and do our shadow work and be at one with our shadow work. I'm not saying don't, like, you have to actually, like, that's the new age sort of stuff, going off a little bit off topic, but there's a lot of new age in AA actually as well. And
Mm.
I hear it all the time. Even though you're supposed to do your fourth step, a lot of people say, um, just in new age in general, that, don't look at the darkness because it's going to grow. No, how do they say it? Don't look at the darkness, just focus on the positive, everything positive. And I'm sorry, that's completely incorrect. We live in a world
It-
where it's duality. You know,
Yes,
it's
absolutely. I
it,
work with people a lot in my work where we do focus on the darkness. We go there, we recognize it, we give it the recognition it deserves. We give it love, we bring it, we speak it. Like I'm a channeler, so I can pick up and actually help people speak their speak, bring out the darkness in the inner child or whatever it might be. But to ignore that
mm,
is ignoring a deep part of the self, and you're just suppressing it, and that's what they want.
100%.
They want it down there so you can just fester on it
Yeah.
and just keep yourself in a lower vibration, or whatever you want to call that,
Yeah. I've
those
had to,
terms.
yeah. Like in the last year, I had so many things again changing. I'm catching myself changing the way I think about stuff. They didn't happen
Yeah.
to me, they happened for me so that I could identify my or be like really hone in on that part of myself, that part of Julia that is scared and
Hmm.
has learned certain behaviors to protect herself, like putting up walls when I don't want people to get close to me, or saying mean
Sure.
things because I want to, don't want to be vulnerable. And
Hmm.
none of that really works in my favor. However, I have to really look at that part of myself so that I can just be, oh, it's okay,
Okay. and
you're not
and
going
you
to
and you
die,
like,
you
no,
know?
and we have to also give ourselves the time as well to look at these things and not rush it and think we
Mm,
have to do it all in a week or whatever. Like, you just, when it comes up, it comes up. So yeah, I agree with you.
yeah.
There's so much in this whole AA indoctrination. What else did I pick up on? Um,
Did your sponsor make you get on your knees?
yes,
Mm,
yes, yes, I
interesting. Yeah,
did. It
same.
was quite weird. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was and I had to recite the third step prayer,
Hmm.
which I can't remember actually now,
Me
but
either.
it is a prayer, and it's basically about healing. I'm handing over my will pretty much to
That's it. It's that
a higher power.
contract.
It's that, yes, yeah,
It's like a
yeah, that
contract.
yeah, I have no more. My will is totally in your hands, and I basically take no responsibility in some way. If you look at it, quite,
Well, when you're handing your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him or her, that
yeah,
is handing over responsibility. Oh, well, I
yeah.
was an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic. I have had a not doing too well. And it's kind of like this label that you have. It's like a cop out. It's a cop out.
It's a massive cop out, and that term just handed over.
Just hand it
I
over.
used to say it. That came out of my mouth so many times, and
Same.
to other people, like, you've got some, problems to work on. Well, obviously it's too hard for you because you're an alkie. You're just a sick MF, and you just need more meetings,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Just hand that over. He'll sort it out. No, you've got to work on these things, and get, it's just, yeah, there's a better way, people. There really is. There's a better way. And for those poor people who are suffering and lonely and unwell, you know, there's I really want if there's anyone out there, please contact Julia, and find some way of getting help. You don't need to hand your power away at all. We told these things in from
There's
Alcoholics Anonymous indoctrination.
there's also actually if people prefer, because like there's no one way to heal. Like everyone's got their own well,
Yeah, I agree with
own
you.
own
Yeah,
way to do it. But there is a I heard about Smart Recovery in Australia. It's like there's an online program. It's not 12-step based. I haven't
yeah.
done it. I personally didn't want any help from any groups because I was like, I'm done with groups. I'm going to do it on my own because I felt strong enough. Like I knew I could
Yeah.
do it. But some people are a bit more vulnerable and they need that connection in the group. And I totally get that. But Smart Recovery is really good. And I don't know the prices or anything like that. But
And a lot of people in AA too who have dual diagnoses, like or more, triple. Like you've got your drug problems mixed with the alcohol mainly. Like that was me throughout my 20s. Like I was just drugging and drinking all the
yeah.
time. It was just like similar to your story. And then you've got people with mental illnesses combined with that. You've got your bipolar or your schizoaffective disordered people who are coming in for their main therapy being AA. It's very, very, very dangerous. I have seen very, very sick people coming into those groups. And as a nurse at the time, I'm like, far out, you shouldn't be here.
Sponsors telling them to get off their meds, like
Oh, okay, yeah.
there are
Oh gosh.
sponsors that will say, you can't be on medication when the doctor's specific. Some people need medication. Like
That's
they're
just
so
bad.
like I'm not trained in
Okay.
that field. I never actually said that to anyone. Thank God. But that's a very dangerous thing to say to someone, especially if you don't have any training. Not all sponsors do that though. Um, but there are some real hardcore women and men out there that just AA is the only way. The big book is the only way. You don't
Only way. There's no other
like.
way.
There's no other
I
way.
know, I know, I know a few people have known over the years many different lovely people, but seen people who've had, been in partnerships or with her spouse who has so-called disease as well. So the person in the partnership or the marriage, or whatever, will stay in that because they have been told that this person that you're with is very, very sick, so you should, when they get into AA, everything will be fine, so just hack it out.
Yeah.
And this, these false hopes that are given to people, and it's just, yeah,
Can
so much stuff.
I read something from the Freedom Model? I kind of like
That'd be great,
typed it
please.
out because it's pretty cool little paragraph I came across. It's right at the first 3 chapters are like full on, like just it's when the truth hits you when you're ready to hear it, or even if you're not ready to hear it. The truth, there's a frequency and there's a power to that, to truth, and it just goes straight through. It's awesome.
Love
Anyway,
it.
so I read it out. So addiction is a set of beliefs held together by myths, mysticism, and misguided ideas, as well as misinterpreted and flawed research. Fear of substances and their powers is the dominant focus in the recovery society mindset. The treatment centers are its churches. The recovery zealots are its missionaries, and the addicts and alcoholics are its unknowing followers. To be
Yeah.
part of this religious movement, you must both romanticize and fear the mythical supernatural powers of drugs and alcohol. You must understand that addicts or alcoholics are diseased, weak, lost souls with no ability to stop themselves from being led by the magical pull of substances. Addiction gurus are the priests leading their flock to salvation.
Oh,
Finally,
that
the court systems enforce their dogma, making this a theocracy. In this religion, people talk of substances as if they were living, breathing beings bent on their destruction. The religion of addiction is one of the primary causes of the increasing death rates from overdose.
wow.
That's just like one paragraph. The whole book is just like jaw dropping. Like I highly recommend.
I can feel my brain synapses going.
It's like the best book. Like
Need
I'm
this book.
it's so good. Like you can listen to it on Audible.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. It's
So if you
it's
just want
important.
it straight away, just on your phone, just start deprogramming. That's what I did before the book came, and then I've sort of gone back over it and taken notes, and done stuff like
I
that.
feel
So
I feel as though, we need this, because the literature has been shoved down the alcoholics members of AA, that the literature is what's really, they really call it the Bible, and it's everywhere, and this is what they make you read. They make you read it, they make you memorize it, they make you put notes in it, they make you see how you're like, like all this crap that they're talking about, like from the 1920s, I think it is, that far back.
1939,
1930, yeah, that's right,
when I was,
1939.
yeah.
I mean, and look, this is some of my lines from back when I was, in the program in the early days, and um, was this me in my 20s? Who was I, an alcoholic then? There's all this stuff I'm talking about myself, low self-esteem, I'm unmanageable, I can't manage my life. You know, I just love the effect of alcohol. You know, I'm abnormal. I'm sickened. I have an allergy. That's right. The allergic reaction to
That's
alcohol
right.
was also shoved down your throat. Like we are allergic to it, is another thing they say.
Hmm. Do you remember in
Crazy.
that? What's that?
It's just crazy now.
It's
It's
crazy.
all coming back to me, and I'm sure more will, as the days
Yeah.
go by.
Do you remember in the documentary where they had the ex-AA board member speaking? And I
Yes.
actually found the full interview on Monica's YouTube channel. And the stuff that he says, like he was on the board in the New York, which is like the top, you know,
Yeah.
the hub of AA
World
essentially.
headquarters, I think they
Yeah,
call it, or
that's right.
world. Yeah.
And he said that he brought to the board meeting the I'm paraphrasing here, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it was like a 7-page letter filled with sexual assaults, rape, child molestation, everything that was occurring in AA. And he tried to get the board members to do something about it. We need to change. Like he was trying to sort of, I guess, yeah, bring change, and they just didn't want it, not a bar of it. And that
Yeah.
is
Disgusting.
the real problem, is that I don't think AA will change.
Really a tinge to it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And the powers that be in government, really.
yeah.
And the symbol, of AA now, I see. They don't really flash that around so much, but I saw it on the wall there.
Mm.
The pyramid and the circle. I'm not exactly sure what the symbology of that actually means to you.
It's the same symbol as I think the Illuminati or
Oh, the
something.
Illuminati, of
Yeah.
course, right.
But
Yep, yep.
Illuminati, that illumination, that means to be enlightened, to have knowledge. Essentially, that's what it means. And they're mocking
Yeah,
because,
yeah, yeah.
um, look, I think there would like there could be a deeper dive into the history, which I haven't actually got into yet. Kind of as far as I've got was where Bill came from and the religious group, the Oxford group. And then there are also similarities to Aleister Crowley's, who was a dark occultist, and his work. That's as
Yeah.
kind of as far as I got. But there's links to the Rockefeller Foundation for the funding and all that sort of stuff. And
Oh,
then,
wow. I have a
yeah,
feeling you're going to go quite deep with this, Julia.
I've been talking to someone. I've been talking to someone. She's awesome. She's like the wealth of knowledge, and she knows all about cults. And yeah, so I've been taking notes as she talks to me. I'm like, oh, that could have some links, and I'm kind of like sort
Yes.
of pulling things together. But look, it's at the end of the day, I'm, you know, I can continue to go down the history, and it's really important for people to know. But for me, I know that I'm not powerless. I've experienced it. I've had 9 years of abstinence in this
Yeah.
fellowship, and I broke my abstinence deliberately. I was like, I will be the one to decide whether I want to drink or not.
What was the
Um,
catalyst for you? What was what sort of brought you to that day, shall we say? And how did you
you
just
know,
go to a bar? Did you go to the bottle shop? What did you do?
I to be honest, I didn't make a big deal. Oh, actually, yeah. I didn't make a big deal out of it. I was, as I was deprogramming, I was speaking to my partner about it. So I was very open,
Yeah.
because I had that guilt. I didn't want to be like, just in case something would happen. But I can't like that once I did the deprogramming, which I did it for 3 months, I think roughly. I just knew there was nothing was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed the taste of like a wine or a beer or something like that, And
Yeah.
I finished a gig. I was doing some busking, and then I said to
Lovely.
her, I said to her, look, let's go out for dinner. And if you're comfortable, we'll do it. I want to have a drink. And we spoke about it. And it's like, all right, well, if that's what you want to do. And it tasted so good.
I
And
know, it's just almost the same as my
like,
story. Yeah, it
bloody,
was
you
good.
tell anyone this in AA, they'll be like, oh my God. Ugh. But, I'm not
Yeah,
encouraging anyone
stick.
to drink. I'm not encouraging people to start drinking because people prefer not to drink. And um, it's very important to deprogram or have that knowing that you're not going to, nothing's bad's going to happen to you. Because if you don't have that, that whole spiraling relapse could occur, could happen,
I think
maybe.
sobriety, and that's a really good thing you brought up. I think having, if you are drinking habitually and abusing alcohol, or using alcohol, shall we say, more than you can handle, right? It's making you sick. You're probably vomiting. You're waking up with the shakes, or many other terrible, terrible side effects
Mm,
that drinking too much can do to you, including having depression and suicidal ideation or thoughts,
yeah,
which I had all of those things at one point or another. You do need to stop.
yeah,
You do need to have a break. You do need to just give the body a chance to recover, because the amount that amount of alcohol is causing the organs such distress.
yeah,
And it is recommended by doctors, I would
yeah.
say. I'm not sure it's true, but
the
yeah, you just got to go and have really give yourself a break, and you may enjoy it. You may actually enjoy the time off and
My
find just
abstinence,
thinking
best,
clearly.
yeah, best years of my life not drinking.
Yep.
I had the best years of my life because I could it took me about a year or 8 months to really start feeling good. So my body was I was destroyed. Like really bad, so bad towards the end. And
Yeah.
just the brain was not work. Like I remember my first meetings and for ages trying to read. Like I had the book in front of me and I couldn't read properly because my
Wow.
eyes were not focused. Like I couldn't even pay attention and long enough to retain information. I was that fucked. Excuse my
Mm.
language, but it was really not good.
I've
And
heard that word before. And again, one that I use a lot.
I gave my body and myself a chance, and I put
Yeah.
something else first in, and I actually chose to do something instead that made me happy, and that was music. I had a
Yeah.
fear of
Beautiful.
I had a fear of following my dreams and doing something that made me happy. And that's all that was really. And I just started doing it. And now it's like that I know that the alcohol or any drug has no power over me. It's a knowing. It's not a belief. It's a knowing. And I have gone out and had nights out, but I do prefer not to drink.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because I'm the same. Like I've had a few nights where I've had more than one or two, maybe a three or four, and I
Yeah.
just go, oh, I don't know. I'm just sort of past that stage now. I like being sober. I actually can take it or leave it. But what a lovely feeling to know that I'm in control of that. And if I choose to want to do that to myself, I do know what's going to happen to me. Probably going to feel like crap the next day.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't have any fear anymore. But mind you, I still haven't had a glass of wine, and wine was my thing. Like beers weren't. So I guess I still might have a little bit or a lot, Julia, of
Yeah.
deprogramming to do, because I haven't had the wine yet.
Yeah.
because that's why, yeah, see how where I'm at still. So
Yeah.
I took the beer option because I never used to drink beer.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh God, I've got to I've got to maybe have a glass of wine, but I don't really feel like one.
Just
So
remember, like, there's no such, the alcohol doesn't have power over you. It's just a for me, the only sort of things I had to watch out for is because I drank the stuff that I liked to drink, and I did
mm,
have old patterns of behavior and thinking come up because they were all suppressed with fear. So
yes,
I I kind of was aware that that might happen before I took the drink. So I was very mindful when I every like, not to the point where I was obsessing, because there's nothing to control because it doesn't have a power over me. So it kind of like, I'm the one that's going to be controlling it. So if I just go and come to a from a place of there's nothing to control, doesn't have a power over me, just be mindful and
mm,
allow yourself to maybe drink a little bit too much and then just be like, oh, that didn't work for me. Let's do it differently this
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And I,
It's really interesting. Yeah, you mentioned that because I had I think I had more than two beers the other week or so. And it was an extremely learning experience for me because I was almost outside of my body being the observer watching how I was feeling. It was really interesting. And I just remember walking around just going, I don't know how I really feel about this. It's really interesting. I don't remember feeling like this for a very, very, very long time, but I just don't think this is where I want to really be. So maybe I'll just cap it at two now. You know,
yeah.
three's a bit big for me. And there's the control right there. There's the knowing, there's the experience, there's that period of sobriety taught me so much.
Mm,
It really did. But I didn't need this crap.
yeah.
This crap
Well, it
to
like for me
keep
as
me.
well, it doesn't make me happy to do that, to destroy myself like that. Like, and that's
No.
really where it comes down to. Like, I'm happier doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing, talking to
Yeah.
people and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's just such a like this last year, it's just been insane. Like, I almost don't
I'm so
recognize myself.
I'm
Yeah.
just so happy that you got on with Dale, and I know you've been in another podcast, and I'm sure you will be talking to people all over the world with what you're doing and other things too, because you're an
Mm.
amazingly intelligent woman, and yeah,
Oh,
I just
thank
wish you
you.
all, and I hope I can hear your music one day. Where do we hear your music? I'd love to
uh,
hear some.
I do have a YouTube channel, which
Yes.
is kind of neglected at the moment, just because I've been obviously doing this stuff, which is foundation
Sure.
work, like doing the foundation. Because again, when you strip away all the dogma, you're left with yourself. It's like, shit, all right, who am I again? Sort of thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I've done some things, but I do have a YouTube channel, and I'm slowly getting back into it. I can share it with you after, but
Oh,
like,
I'd love to hear your music.
talk
Yes.
talk a little bit about what you do as well, because you have a YouTube channel as well, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I do. Yes, I am part of a duo. But whereas like where her name's Georgie Beaumont, and we are called the Venus Twins. And we came together as friends, met during the lockdowns here in Melbourne, and we were both very interested in the metaphysical world, both obviously awake to the satanic Luciferian agenda, and started doing psychic development classes together.
Wow.
And I'd done a course in as a past life regressionist, QHHT it's called, but with Dolores
Done that.
Cannon. Oh, you studied that too?
No, I had someone
Oh, you've
do
had one.
yeah.
Oh, did you have a good experience?
Really
It's
good.
pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm
Yeah.
wanting to get back into it and do some more of it. So yeah, if anyone wants one, let me know. Um, wonderful. So past life and healing with the subconscious. Anyway, Georgie was one of my practice clients, and then we became firm friends and found out that we lived just a street away from each other.
Wow.
We started using pendulums. First time in me ever doing that. And then we started receiving messages after a while separately from one another that were the same.
Oh, wow.
And basically, we were told that we were on another metaphysical level from the planet of Venus. And we sort of I take this with I don't have too much attachment to it. I just accept what they said, and it's interesting to me. It's interesting. But what we were told is that we're here to help people to help cure themselves, help free the world from all dis-ease, and help people love themselves back to life, basically,
That's
and
awesome.
teach people self-love. That's it in a nutshell. People can have a look at the website, and it's wisdomhealing.com.au. We do psychic readings, and we work with the quantum field to help people heal themselves. We're basically just the facilitators, but we're both psychics. We're both mediums and channels. So we are able to pick up information. I feel it's from the person's subconscious. We pick it up. We're very in tune with that. I believe it has something to do with our aura. Maybe we've lived a lot of lives here. I think we probably have, and I think you have too. But
Well, yeah, the
well, I really
metaphysical.
know that. I don't know.
The
But
metaphysical, yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting.
yeah, the metaphysical, I don't really know. All I know is that love heals everything, and self-love heals everything. So you've got to love yourself before anything else is going to change in your life. And that learned that the long and hard way, and I'm still learning it. So yeah, I basically just help people with solve their problems
Yeah,
as best I can. With the help of a higher intelligence, I feel it's coming in, like I can tap into it. So
that's
it's really
awesome.
beautiful work. And yeah, I'm constantly in awe of it. And yeah, so that's basically it. And I'm hopefully getting back in behind the microphone soon too.
Well, we should have
um
a jam.
oh, that'd be amazing. Oh yeah, I'd love that.
That is so
Yeah.
cool. Like we're both in Victoria, so
Yeah,
which is
yeah, we're
even
only 40 minutes away from each other. No, that'd be great. Yeah, I like songwriting, I like singing. My voice is a bit rusty, but that's all right. I got to
still there.
I, yeah, it's still there.
Just got
It's
to work
quite,
at it. Yeah.
sometimes I blow the microphone apart when we do interviews, Georgie and I. I think we've done, I don't know, 60 or 70 views. We've got about 5,000 viewers on our YouTube channel. It's not that many, but we speak
It's
to other
awesome.
people in the spiritual community around the world, and um, yeah, just spread, information, but we try to keep it positive. We don't really
Yeah.
like to delve into too much of the negative stuff. We're not like, like really well-read academic type people. Like, we just speak from the heart, and just we're channels, so we channel this information, share it with people, and it's quite, of a angelic frequency, if you believe in that or not. It doesn't matter. If the words touch you, that's a nice thing, isn't it? So
Well, that's it. Everyone's got their own essence and their own gifts to bring into this 3D realm, into the physical from the metaphysical, or however else
mm,
you put it. And
yeah,
and yeah, it's just you're doing the work, I guess. So which is awesome, helping people, because
yeah,
there's a lot of people that are suffering, and I could feel the energy is so um I don't know if volatile is the right word, but there's something happening that is so extreme at the moment, where I feel like people are either going to be left behind or they're going to move forward. That's the only way I can sort of put it in understanding, because I
yeah,
remember not too long ago, maybe 5, 6 weeks ago, I still wasn't feeling 100%. Like I was still going, like I just had this heaviness of just like holding this, ugh, you know, fear,
Yeah.
holding the, whatever I was holding.
Mm.
And I woke up in the morning and I said to myself, right, that's enough.
Yeah, good on
Enough,
you.
enough's enough, Julia. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Like fucking, I kicked my own ass, really. And
Good
I
on
was
you.
like, and that's the day I was like, all right, all right, podcast, get back into it. Right, music, get back into it. Just push yourself out of the shit, because
Mm.
the real, uh, the real spiritual work is in action. It's based in action. It's not sitting there. Yes, meditation is great. Don't knock it. I'm not knocking anything really, but we only really see change through action,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, love is an action word, and that
Yeah,
goes for yourself as well. Totally with you on that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Get bogged down in that quagmire of so many different things going on in our head, like what am I going to do? And sometimes it's just easy just to forget about it all. And sometimes that's good for a while, but it that can lead to low mood and
yeah,
um inactivity in a big way.
yeah.
So well done for kicking your own ass. It's
Oh
not easy
yeah,
to do.
no. Well,
It's
I
not.
just get sick of thinking about my own problems, and it's like, oh, I got more important things to do than worry about my own problems. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, oh,
I
geez.
do.
Yeah. So, like, there are still things that, like, I think it's so good to just be, and just say to yourself, oh, I'm so glad I'm not perfect. So glad that there's things about me that is, I'll just have to laugh at. And I actually am, that's why it's so important to have good people around you that make you just laugh and help you sort of connect. And I've found those people through the last few years. And
That's so good. So
when you can
happy
just
for
laugh about stupid things and then be serious at the same time, they're the
yeah.
people, they're your soul family, and
Yeah.
I feel so blessed that I have these people around me. So if anyone is listening to this and doesn't know where to start, like, one of the best things that I did have to let go of all the old groups of friends that
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
around. That's
Absolutely.
those
Same.
environments. And let go of everything, really. I let go of everything.
All of them, bless them, but they had to go.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I started to go way before I stopped drinking alcohol. It was almost like I knew they had to go first, or certain ones. Yeah, very interesting how all that happened, even prior to 2020, and it
Mm,
was just a process of I don't I've got bigger things I've got to do now, you
yeah.
know. The awakening is a really interesting thing to look back on. And it doesn't just mean that you've been red pilled and you know that there's tunnels under the earth and all that shit. It starts much more subtly than that. It starts way more like it started way back in it's probably 2012 for me, by becoming really sick physically and realizing that no pill was curing me. And I had like acid coming up from my stomach. They said I had celiac disease.
Mm.
Fully told me I had celiac, couldn't eat any wheat, and then I couldn't eat an orange. I said to the doctor, that's not celiac. Well, what's wrong with me? He goes, oh, you've got celiac disease. It's sort of showing that you've got the start of it. I'm like,
Wow.
well, okay. So I went on this diet to, all many diets. I was really, really slim, and I'm not a big lots of meat on me anyway. I was looking pretty unwell there for a while. And anyway, just learned through kinesiology that it was, emotional stuff. That was the beginning of my awakening anyway.
There you go.
Starts very subtly. So yeah, we are very blessed to be at this point, to be on this. Yet for me, I'm really grateful to you, Julia, because this is yet another part of my awakening, and I want to thank you for that.
Mm.
helping me in this job. Yeah, it's a big one. It's a really big one, and it's important for all those people out there who've also been in Alcoholics Anonymous. Like if I had known what I know now through what the video that you put out, even though I had come to my own conclusions, within myself first, but now seeing it from someone like yourself with such eloquence, I add, um, I I would still be in that vibration of fear in a big
Right.
way. So thank you.
Of course.
Really grateful. Really
Well,
grateful.
yeah,
Really grateful.
we're all helping one another, and I had help as well. Like I think that like Dale and Madeline, they helped me without even knowing it, just by being in there. Because I did their STE Academy, which by the way,
Oh,
I highly recommend for people. Just the speakers that they had, and it's been 9 weeks now. And from the start of that 9 weeks till now, like I just don't recognize, well, I do recognize myself, and then get like Dale heard that I was sort of starting to talk about this AA thing. And then just speaking about it, it just gave me confidence, and being around people that do the work, Madeline and Dale are people that do the work amongst everyone in that community. They're deep thinkers. They're around, they take action, and they look at what's real, and they're not afraid to look at what isn't. And that
yeah.
is how we get through it, is through with one another. So like I helped you, they helped me. They had people
Yeah.
that helped them, like, and
Yeah.
that's how it works. It's like you got to want it. You really got to want it and look for it, and just go into that area and just hang out with those people because they look like they're happy about something.
Yeah, that's good. I
You know
love it.
what I mean?
It's good. I thank you. I did Rachel Vaughan's course recently, which was really,
So did
really good.
I. So did
Oh, you
I.
did you? Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It was
Which month did you do? We may have been in the same
I
class.
just finished
Oh, okay,
last
the
week.
January one. Oh,
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah, I think I did November.
Right.
How interesting was that?
Oh, I just keep looking now for like portals and ley
Looking for the
lines.
balls. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
how,
And I just have so
how
many photos of weird shit in my garden and other photos that I found. It's just crazy.
and the fact that nature's always speaking to us,
Yes.
how cool is that? Like, and what I cannot stop thinking about is playing music on ley lines to help heal the earth.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
beautiful.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still haven't gone out
Stunning.
there, but um, there's a few other things I got
Yeah.
to sort out. But anyway, her course is awesome, and she's such a beautiful, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
admire her.
One of the most beautiful people I think I've ever met. One of the bravest people, and she was one of the people that I mentioned in that when I got that opportunity to speak on that stage. And yeah, I'd do it all again in a heartbeat, and I'd add more names next time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, God bless her, and
Do you
I just think
know that like being on the receiving end of what you said, that like that frequency, how it just penetrated through the crowd, it was so powerful. Like
yeah,
in
I didn't
well,
even like really plan to say it like for many like days before, maybe the day before. I said, oh, I've got to get there. I've got to say something, because for me, the whole awakening, my awakening began pretty hardcore. The real
same,
stuff
same.
was victim victim testimonies or survivors of SRA testimonials and videos, and some of them, I went quite deep, and I'm glad I did. They deserve to be listened to, and yeah, it no one else was saying anything, so I just started, because I was going to so many protests and no one was saying anything about
Yeah.
it, and people were saying, oh, someone's got to say something about it. Well, I've got the golden ticket, because I'm about to go up on that shitty stage, and
Yeah.
And I didn't tell anyone I was going to say it, mind you.
Good,
I
good.
didn't tell
You might have,
anyone. Really quiet.
yeah.
Yeah. And it was probably not going to be expected, because I think a lot of those people who were, organizing the protests were not really on not on our side, a lot of them. I don't know. It was all
You
seemed a
know,
bit weird.
before they became the freedom movement, right? Like
Yeah.
before that even was a thing, they actually
Yeah.
started out as marches for the children. So that's how they originally started. Um,
Really? I don't
yeah,
go to those. I don't think I got to those ones. I think I started
neither did
when
I.
Monica and that crew were sort of starting out, and then they somehow got this magically massive bus, which kind of made me, how do you get
Anything
a
to do
bus?
with politics, I don't know where you sit with this, but anything to do with politics and government, it's all forms of slavery to me, because you're expecting some, like, it's, first of all,
Mark Casio talks about it, doesn't he?
yeah,
He talks about
yeah.
what a sovereign means. Yeah, I love that.
And like, you don't have, like, I'll say it from my perspective, no one, actually, I'll say it like this because that doesn't sound really nice. No one has the right to vote in someone to become someone else's master, if that makes sense. Like, I don't have the
Yeah,
right to vote someone in and allow that person to dictate whatever they're going to dictate or legislate if that other person in the crowd is not happy with that, because that's actually creating harm. And you're
correct.
handing over responsibility again. It's like that. For me, no one
Mm,
represents me except for
no,
me.
no. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm not a slave. So yeah, I haven't voted for a long time.
Me either.
I've got so many fines. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with all. I just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think I even registered ever. Actually, probably shouldn't say this. Oh, whatever. They probably know
No,
already
you
know.
can do it
Whatever.
without us.
Anyway, I'm never going to vote.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you got a question about all these politicians in the freedom movement that came in
Mm,
and just ran the show, really,
yeah.
and questioned them because they're not teaching people about real freedom. For example, around money, the fact that the fiat currency, it's all fake. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist in the natural world.
Yep.
Um, they're not teaching people about natural law. It's again, it's just the same shit, but labeled freedom party or freedom
Exactly.
this. So, you know,
Who taught you about natural law,
Mark
Julia?
Passio.
Yeah, right. Okay, I've got to watch a few more of his videos. I have watched a few, and I do enjoy them very much. He's pretty
I
hard
res
ass. I
Oh
like
yeah.
that. I like his approach.
Yeah, a lot of people find that difficult because he's very up, like he sometimes screams because he's
Yes,
angry. He's
he's,
angry. And but
he's really
but
angry about it.
but his principle, he's got principles that he abides by, and he hasn't changed his message in over 15 years, and he still
Wow.
speaks from the same place. I've not ever stopped listening to him since I started, just because he had such a massive impact on me in regards to speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And he
So you
kicked
must
my
have, so
ass.
you've watched all these videos, have you? Pretty
A
much.
lot of them, not all of them, but I pretty much like the majority of his, and they're all like at least 3 hours long. So I've like,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, well, we did have a lot of time during the lockdowns,
That's
didn't
it.
we? To do these
Yeah.
things. See, I went down that road and you went down. I kind of, I am ready to learn more about natural law, and I think it should be part of the school curriculum now, and
Oh
it
yeah.
will be really
Yeah.
um, teaching ourselves, how to get out of the system. Yeah.
Knowing what's right. There is such thing as what something um objective morality, right and wrong,
Mhm.
objective truth, can't speak, aligning your perceptions with truth, this whole
Mhm.
idea that, um, it's actually, he speaks about it in his first episode, solipsism. He talks about the ideology of solipsism and
Mhm.
how so many people, millions of people, have adopted this ideology where their perception is truth and that nothing else exists beyond that.
Mm,
and that occurs in both left brain and right brain imbalances. So very interesting.
definitely.
Mm.
Yeah. Is that his first video?
But
Solipsism. That's a hard word to
first,
say, isn't it?
yeah, first episode you can find it on his website. There's no video, it's just audio. Real like 15 years ago, and he talks about a few things, but majority of that, I think the first and the second episode is around solipsism. He dives into the definition, talks about it. Yeah, really cool.
Amazing,
Yeah,
amazing, amazing teacher.
yeah.
And their background is so interesting in itself too, isn't it? So he's
Well, he
come from
comes from
being
the
the leader of the satanic cult, one of
yeah,
the higher cult leaders,
yeah,
and now teaching people how to deprogram from that. It's
yeah.
amazing.
It's awesome.
Amazing. Mm,
So we could keep
wow.
talking, I reckon, but I reckon we'll keep it to maybe
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
Oh, that's
Maybe
cool.
we can do another one. We can maybe deep dive on actual chapters in the book or something like that. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
if
for
you're interested,
sure.
or I don't know.
Yeah, of course, Julia. Of course, I'm happy to because this book has just got so much shit in it that we
So
we
much.
really are. I'm gonna be going through it and just putting my little question marks at the end of some of the
Yeah.
paragraphs. You know,
But yeah, let's
it's
stay in touch
it's
because
fun.
I want to,
Yeah, absolutely. Thank
yeah,
you for speaking to me, little old me, and
of course.
yeah, you're amazing. And oh yeah, we could talk for ages, but
We
yeah, I better
could.
go too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome, Julia. And
Yeah.
yeah, got my details. Send me the video when you're done. And yeah, just let me know when we
Mm.
want to speak again.
This
And
is
happy
so good.
birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. And yeah, au revoir for now.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Good job, mate. Well done. Pats on the back.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.